So we are live. Hello and welcome to the post-match live session on More Than a Game. This is the first time we're doing a YouTube live on this channel, so we are pretty excited. I'll be hoping that a lot of people join us today. And today we've been joined by Rahul, Abhinav, and Rutik, and we'll be talking about the game, which was sort of a disaster for the Indian team, if you think of it, because we were expecting a lot of things from them post the second match, but again, to call it a shambolic performance will be getting too harsh on them. But then again, it wasn't the total Indian standards in it. So if you think of it, I straight away go to Rahul with this because I want to talk about his namesake, KL Rahul. Rahul, when we talked about KL post the first match, that we wanted to see him play well, but post that in the second game and in the third game as well, do you think that he has been lacking that kind of confidence that he used to have to play fluently and everything? So your comments on KL Rahul at this very moment?
That's a good question. If you look at his body language, KL obviously seems like the kind of guy, that needs that confidence. And in 2018, he was like the player India need now, showing that intent, which just gone. And to add that, I would say that his lack of form now, he's not played much cricket in the past few months. He's just been going from bubble to bubble. Maybe during the tests they could have released him to play domestic and get some batting under his belt. But yeah, I think India still back him to be the opener. But this sort of form you can't really justify. Dropping, pushing Kishan down the order and dropping Surya Kumar, who did nothing wrong. Yeah, I would love to see KL do well because my namesake.
But Rahul, if you think of it, for KL, the main problem with him earlier was that he didn't have a specific place in the batting order. If you think of it, he was played at number 3, not in number 3 because Kohli was there, but at number 4, even at number 5 in that manner. So if you think of it, was that the problem with him? He's back up in the pecking order and he's opening for the team, but he just lacked that sort of confidence. And there's a question by our very own Srinivas here: does KL need to be axed? So Rahul, I would like to answer that question as well, if you can please.
I would think maybe the remaining 2 T20s maybe they could rest him, give others a chance, but I don't think he needs to be axed. Just because this be a run of bad form, and usually with IPL upcoming, it's a chance for him to get get back in the runs. And if he has a good IPL, then I don't think we'll all be happy to see that same KL play for India. But what India don't need is Rahul who is like taking it slow, because India already have those other kind of similar players, anchors in the team. So India don't need that kind of another that kind of KL Rahul. If we could see the 2018 IPL KL, that would be really good.
So I think we'll just have to see if he'll be axed or not. But as it seems, there might be a chance that Surya Kumar will get in, Ishan Kishan will move to the top, and KL might be axed. So let's see. But moving on from KL Rahul, because again, we can't just dwell on the fact that he hasn't been performing. Coming to our main man, Captain Virat Kohli, as Abhinav said before the live started, that he is an ardent Virat Kohli fan. So Abhinav, first of all, the knack of losing the toss, we don't know what's that with Virat Kohli. But then again, being sent in to bat first and post that, having that conundrum of a start, Kohli again showed his class, how he can be. But the problem was that he wasn't supported by other batsmen. So do you think Kohli has been facing a problem there where he has to anchor the innings? And that's why he hasn't been able to play freely, because in the last game, Kishan did the scoring. And with that, Kohli played a bit freely and then he was able to score and then regain his form. So do you think the added pressure is acting upon Virat Kohli, even if he did score? But if you think of it, that added pressure is a problem on Virat Kohli's head.
So I'll start with the fact that probably Kohli needs to bring somebody out with him to the toss. I mean, like Fab du Plessis tried to bring in Temba Bavuma just to coin a toss in the test of the India-South Africa series that happened a couple of years back. I think Kohli needs to bring somebody just to try and get him a bit of a rub of the green with the toss. Jokes aside, I think this is a fabulous T20 innings from Virat Kohli. I mean, this was a proper lone man fighting. This was like the captain standing on the burning ruins of his team, and he just stood up and he somehow tried to single-handedly drag his side out to a score that was that would have been reasonably competitive for to try and defend. I mean, he batted really well. I think it is a masterclass in pacing an innings. I mean, he had to do that because he was just losing too many wickets from all ends. He did not get any support from Kishan. Looked a little rattled by the pace and hostility of Mark Wood. And Rishabh Pant, I mean, I think the captain probably needs to take a bit of the blame for that. I mean, he kind of sold him a penny and took down Pant with that run out, and even and Iyer also, we know how Iyer struggles with quality pace bowling, being with the pace being aimed straight, with the ball being aimed straight at his chest area, and he looked rattled in that phase. So I think he had to do a lot of things together. He had to anchor the innings at start, and because Hardik wasn't really hitting straps towards the end, he had to even play the role of the aggressor towards the end. So he had to do a lot of things in that one innings, and he did it brilliantly. I think you've got to give it to him. He's regaining a lot of the touch that we knew associated we associated with Virat Kohli earlier on, before he had that rough patch. So I think it's a great innings from Kohli the batsman. I think Kohli the batsman looked very much in control, and he looked really sorted at the crease finally.
So, yeah, again, it was good to see the great Virat Kohli back, but again, his knock went in disdain. And coming to Rutik with this, Rutik, Abhinav talked about Shreyas Iyer, Abhinav talked about Rishabh Pant as well, how it was a bit unfortunate, the run out. But I would like to talk about Hardik Pandya here. Did you think that Hardik Pandya did try a bit too hard to play those unorthodox shots instead of going with his strengths and playing, with the straight bat towards the onside or maybe on the straight side? He was just trying to just sort of that lap the ball behind and try to get these runs, and he missed all those balls completely. Because if you think of it, Hardik Pandya scoring at 100 strike rate is average by Hardik Pandya standards, if you think of it. That too in the end of the inning. So do you think Hardik needs to calm himself down and just come back to his natural game instead of trying too hard?
I won't say he was trying too hard, because he usually pulls off all of those shots very well, and we have seen it in the past, even in Australia in December in the ODIs, and even in that one T20 where he hit those match-winning 40, I think 40 odd. So those shots he tried against Chris Jordan and Mark Wood, where he was just swinging it at missing it. So he has pulled those very same shots before. So I don't think he was trying too hard. It was just that the scoreboard pressure was mounting on him, and maybe he can just bat with a lot more of clarity in his mind that I want to do this. It's not that run rate बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया तो I just need to go for it.
So basically, that's how Hardik plays, that kind of mentality that I can pull it off, and he generally pulls it off. That's why I said it's a bit average from his standards, the way he played.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, again, the way India started, it was supposed to, it was obvious that it would be difficult in the end of the inning. So I think Virat Kohli was the only one who pulled it till the end, and that got India to that total of 156 for 6. But before we go to the next segment, I would just like to take a few more comments. Aditya, welcome Aditya to the live. Aditya here says, do these opening failures mean Dhawan has a chance to get back in? And I think Kabir has the same question. Hi Kabir, bring back Dhawan x Rohit for the last two games. There's a lot of speculation that Rahul might be dropped, so let's see. And Kabir here says, I think it's time to go from complaining about the pitches to blaming the toss. Maybe Kabir, who knows, if someone else comes out for the toss and we start winning the matches, I would love that tantrum, to be honest. As long as we are winning, I don't mind whoever comes out for the toss. So again, and thank you, Shivam, for joining. I know it's a bit difficult to attend two lives simultaneously, but thanks again for joining. I do understand. But coming back to the Aditya question, do you think that the opening failures mean Dhawan has a chance to get back in? And I'll again go to Rahul with this. Rahul, do you think that if KL is dropped, do you think Dhawan might come back? Or the other option being Ishan Kishan again goes to the top and Surya Kumar comes in for KL Rahul. So do you think which one is a better option for the Indian team currently?
No, see, I think Dhawan will always remain in the setup until no, he really. I mean, he's getting older now, but until if he retires or really loses form, because you know what Dhawan does, especially in ICC tournaments, he always turns it up, and which is what India are building towards now. But whether now that Kishan is there, which is another left-hander, he is genuine competition for Dhawan. So at the moment, I would prefer to go with the younger blood, just because I feel he offers that there's something different to Dhawan. But I think it's still early to say. I mean, looking from a World T20 point of view, it's still early to say, and especially as the IPL is coming up, and IPL is basically what defines a lot of the thinking. So yeah, that's my
But Rahul, if you think of it, Dhawan has that sort of experience in the
yeah.
ICC tournaments, and we have
Yeah.
seen him perform really well in the ICC tournaments. So again, there's going to be a bit of a conundrum in the selection process where they'll have to drop Rahul, because again, Rahul is a bit essential to the team. And again, Dhawan, I think, is someone who can be considered for the 50-over format, but for now, I don't know if he'll be there for the 20-over format. So let's see how it goes. But we've talked about the Indian batting, but I would love to talk about the England bowling as well, because again, they were brilliant. Stokes and Sam Curran were economical, but the one man who stood out was Mark Wood. See, people who know me or who have seen me on the Instagram lives before this, they know I'm a huge fanatic of Mark Wood just because of his sheer pace and the way he skids the ball on the surface. And he did exactly that today. From the wicket of KL Rahul, it was evident that Mark Wood was in top form, and he showed that throughout the game. So, Abhinav, coming to you with this one, do you think in the last game, whatever the policy or whatever that England have in their head, that dropping Mark Wood after a good performance in the first game, and then getting him back in the third one, and then he's showing why he's an essential bowler for England. Do you think England should go in the next two games with Mark Wood being the first choice, even over Jofra Archer?
I'll first extend what Rahul said about Dhawan. I think Dhawan is a great 50 over ICC player. He's not set the two T20 World Cups he's played alight. He's been dropped midway through both the tournaments, in fact. I think, yes. I think 2016 he was dropped midway through the tournament. He did not, and was replaced by Rahane in, I think, both of those T20 World Cups midway. So I think you'd have to go with Ishan Kishan right now, because however good Dhawan is a player, maybe, I mean, especially as a 50-over player in the IPL, he's really come up leaps and bounds. But I think you've got to give somebody like Kishan a go, because Kishan is a lot more versatile and explosive as a player. Coming down to Mark Wood, I think Mark Wood had a bit of a heel injury that actually took him out of the second for the second game. Otherwise, very hard to think that. Morgan had even mentioned it in his in the toss interview in the previous game that Woods is down with a bit of a heel issue, so that's why they had to drop him for the second game. But once again, what Mark Wood defines is that good old saying, pace is pace, yaar. Essentially, what T20 cricket and especially what franchise cricket in the IPL, what Mumbai Indians have shown was that the value of pace bowlers, pace bowlers, not like dibbly, dobbly, knuckleball, slow ball bowlers who would get the ball to stick onto the pitch and do things. It's hostile 140, 150 click pace that just keeps a batsman, that really puts a batsman on multiple levels of back foots at the very start. And Mark Wood just does that. I mean, he has that 150. He was clocking that 150 k Mark with alarming regularity for India. I mean, alarming because he was just steaming in, bowling fast, and he was hurrying the Indian batsmen into he was tying up the Indian batsmen in all sort of body knots, and he really, I mean, it was fast, hostile, direct, and unrelenting from him. I mean, and that is, I mean, and those are, I mean, for all the good shots, the big hits that T20 cricket is about. You want to see a pace bowler with the pace of 150 Ks just coming in, hurrying the batsman and putting and making their life miserable. So it is a fabulous display of pace bowling.
Abhinav, if you think of it, this is not just T20 cricket. If you think of it, pace helps in any form of cricket.
Any form of cricket. Yeah, absolutely.
The problem with Mark Wood has been that he's a bit injury prone, and that's why he hasn't been chosen in the longer setup for England. But again, he shows the class he is, and again he comes back, picks up those 3 big wickets. So if you think of it, Mark Wood was the one who changed the game early for England. And moving from Mark Wood to this question here, I'll go to Rutik for this. Welcome Udit. Thank you for joining us here. And the question Udit asks is, how about Suryakumar Yadav at 4? As I mentioned, that if KL Rahul gets dropped and Sky comes in and not Dhawan, so do you think, Rutik, that Sky will be a good option at number 4, pushing Shreyas down the order and even Rishabh Pant down the order? Do you think it will be a good call?
Definitely, why not? He has been batting at 3-4. He has been batting at 3-4 MI all this while, and he's also done it down the order for KKR in the past, but he was not that effective. So it only tells us that it does not make sense to keep Surya at 5 or 6. It's better to have him at 3 or 4. And 3 is obviously Virat Kohli's spot. You can't take it away from him. So I think Sky at 4 is the perfect choice.
Rutik, but if you think of it, doesn't that nullify Shreyas Iyer totally? Getting him lower down the order, because Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer are sort of same kind of players, sort of anchors who anchor the innings and then start to accelerate. If you get someone like a Shreyas Iyer towards the end of the innings, you can't expect him to always be aggressive from this word go. So I think maybe Suryakumar has that ability to do that, lower down the order. That's why having Sky at maybe 5 or 6 is a better option than having him at 4. I know he has been playing in a better manner. I'll just come to you, But yeah, in the Indian setup is a bit different from the Mumbai Indian setup if you think of it. Just because Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer are in there, if a time comes that Shreyas is dropped, then again Sky can be the number 4 batsman if you think of it. But yeah, Abhinav, you wanted to say something.
Actually, on Suryakumar Yadav, he started out with Kolkata Knight Riders as a 10-15 ball player. He started out as a finisher in 2014 when he joined KKR and he became a regular member. I think 2014 late or 2015 he was a definitive member of that KKR side. He was used exclusively as a 10 to 15 ball player towards the end of the innings, and he did very well in that phase. So he knows what it is to play as a 5-6 at number 5 or 6. But here's the thing, I think, and even in the IPL, the 2020 edition, what was stood out big time for me as a observer, and I think what a lot of people also felt was that he looked very, very much in control in the death overs against pace bowling, and he had improved his range of shots in the death overs against pace bowling. He could use the ramp and the scoops and all the things, all the funky little shots that were a part of his game at KKR when he was being deployed as a finisher. So I think it's a good. I would say that look, I mean, Dhawan Iyer at number 4 in ODIs is perfect because he is really good enough for that. T20s, I feel in T20 internationals, especially with the kind of bowling attacks that a lot of the teams now have, it might be a bit too much of a stretch to think that Iyer might be able to extend the same kind of the form that he shows in one-day cricket as a number 4 batsman to T20 cricket, and the two formats are completely different. So you have to and T20 is a game of specialists. So you have to give back the specialist over here, and I think given a chance, I think Suryakumar Yadav has to be deployed at 4.
As Abhinav mentioned, talking about the specialists of the T20 game, let's just come to the England batting performance. Not talking about the England batting first, talking about the Indian bowling first. We've been talking about throughout the Test series and even in the Australia Test series that Washington Sundar is someone who's a T20 specialist in the power play overs. And I'll again go to Rutik with this. Rutik, do you think that not using Washington Sundar just because of the fact that there are two right-handers opening the innings, does that make sense? If he's a specialist bowler in the power plays, he knows how to vary his pace. He can trouble the batsman with that odd turn. Why not use him in the start? Okay, Bhuvneshwar is back, but why not use him from the other end? If you know he has that capability to get that odd turn, get that wicket, why not that? What is Kohli thinking there?
Maybe he's afraid to, afraid about the fact that he'll leak runs in the power play. Even though I agree with what you said that he should be used in the power play because he is a bowler made for those overs. And even MS Dhoni made Ravi Ashwin bowl in the power plays in his time, and Ashwin did not do that bad. And Sundar, being the quicker one, can definitely bring you some two good overs in the power play with less runs and maybe a wicket.
Yeah, exactly. Sundar has that kind of capability. And before coming to Rahul, I'll just take a few comments. Kabir says extra practice against short balls needed for a batsman before the next game. Kabir, that's something that we needed from the word go. Even we went to Australia and we know how we have been against the shorter balls. I think it's just the extra pace of Mark Wood and Jofra Archer we are not being able to cope with. And people here have played Jofra Archer in the IPL, and still, if they can't, handle that kind of a pace, then it's something that they need to change from their end. So again, yeah, practice is needed, but who's going to make them? Who will be there to make them practice for the same? India missed Mohammad Shami badly. In the nets, having a similar kind of a bowler who can bowl those 145s and 146s, getting those short balls in, so that even the Indian batsmen can practice the same. But yeah, let's hope. Udit here says UZ has lost his magic. Players are able to read him easily. And with this question, I'll come to Rahul. Rahul, do you think it was a good idea to have Yuzvendra Chahal in the power play? Because we know Jos Buttler has been attacking him in the previous games as well. So, do you think it was a good option to have UZ in the power play when we know that he's a good bowler in the middle overs?
I mean, from the strategy, I thought was that Chahal has been Kohli's go-to bowler for wickets for from RCB and also for India. So if they were looking to defend the total, then they needed wickets, and going to Chahal makes sense. But so yeah, I mean, there's no point restricting runs because eventually England are going to look at the batting depth they have. What at least two players, if two players deliver, they'll chase it down. So at least it's a risk. It didn't pay off, but you need the wickets. And to be fair, Charles did take one wicket.
Rahul, if you think of it, we didn't do the same in the first game as well. Just because of the same fear, we didn't go for it. And again, we'll be talking about the Sundar is an expert. Okay, and we'll just bring in Chahal, instead of Sundar. Because Chahal, again, he can turn the ball, but he does turn the ball when it gets a bit older. Sundar does that with the newer ball. So do you think it's fair on Chahal as well? Because he has been away from the game as well, and you want him to be in a better form before the IPL or for the World Cup as well. So do you think it's fair on Yuzvendra Chahal that he's bowling those overs as well? He's going for runs. People are just dancing down the track and hitting him out of the park. So do you think Kohli might need to think a little, or it will be a bit harsh on Chahal as well if he's dropped and Akshar is taken in the team? But again, just your final comments on Chahal and where he should bowl and what Kohli should be doing with him, so that he doesn't concede that many runs and gets that form back that we are used to see from Yuzvendra.
I mean, yeah, that is concern that Chahal has been getting hit. He's in the last few T20s he's played in Australia and this series as well. So if India want to test, I think India may test Rahul Chahar or maybe give Kuldeep a chance for the next two, and that's fine. This series is about experimenting and giving different players a go. But yeah, maybe it is a concern, and Kohli should trust Sundar more. Washington has shown that he delivers with the ball whenever asked. So you should
Rahul, if you think of it, you yourself mentioned that Chahal has been a go-to man for Virat Kohli at RCB as well, but hasn't been Sundar. Sundar was the one who gave him those kind of starts in the power play for RCB as well, getting those maidens or maybe those economical overs. So maybe Kohli needs to think how he used to think for RCB, because it can work for India if not for RCB. We won't deviate to the RCB factor
Yeah.
altogether because that's a different chat. But if you think of it, does Kohli need to be like straightforward? Just trust your people who are good at it.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know, Kohli's T20 captaincy, I always uh, wonder, is it up to the mark? Because sometimes, the decisions he makes are, you're like wondering what he's doing. Maybe he's mixing up both the teams he captains, because India do have better bowlers overall than RCB. I don't know what goes through his head sometimes, but at least today I thought bringing Chahal was, was employed to get the wickets. Then he got hit, but that's what he brings to the table is attacking. He gets hit, but he also takes wickets. So yeah,
See,
that's
Rahul, I'll tell you something, and then I'll go to Abhinav with the next question. Rahul, I just thinking of it as a whole. See, if you've not scored that many runs and you are trying to be aggressive, and you concede almost 45 runs in 4 overs, even if you take 3 wickets, that 45 is the big number to concede in the 4 overs, even if you are attacking with a
yeah,
lower total. If you have 200 on the board, you can go with Chahal from the word go. But again, if you're defending a lower total, you need to have that economical bowler first when the field restrictions are in. So maybe Kohli need to think and yada yada, because there are lot of things to talk about. But before coming to Abhinav, I'll just take a few more comments. Mark Wood should join Hollywood. I don't know what the reference is, but yeah, maybe if he'll do
He looks like a
good
hit.
as he did today, he does look like someone who can be a hit in Hollywood. So you never know. No, Omkar here. Welcome, Omkar. Omkar says Rutik sir, big fan. Oh, Rutik has joined us for the first time, and we have a Rutik fan here. So yeah, that's something really nice. And Omkar again says bring Sani. Now, again, the question here is, who do we bring in Sani for? Is it Shardul Thakur? Because again, Shardul gets you that batting option. And if you think of it, before Sani in the pecking order, it should be Deepak Chahar, because he has that ability to be economical in the first 3 overs or the first 6 overs, to say the least. No, but again, I'll come to Abhinav with this question, which is by Udit again. Is Bhubi performance up to the mark? I was really happy to see Bhuvneshwar back, Abhinav. And in the first match, he looked a bit rusty. But do you think he has improved from what we saw in the first match itself?
Yes, I think he's getting there. His bowling fitness is starting to come up. I mean, he's starting to get a lot of. I mean, he started. A good thing was that he was swinging the ball up front today. He was getting a lot of swing today in the first few overs, and it looked good. I mean, he was one of those few bowlers who was looking very much in control when he was bowling. So I think it's a good thing, and he has to be a fixture. And about the Saini question, I think India needs to give Saini a go, because what in India was ruffled up with the pace of Wood and Archer. Saini has the same bowls at the same pace. He bowls
Abhinav,
comparably at
Abhinav,
the same pace.
Abhinav, I agree that Sani has the same pace, and I have all the trust in Sani, to be honest. But there's a bit difference if you think of it in Jofra Archer, Mark Wood, and Navdeep Saini. Navdeep
Yes,
Saini has a tendency of going wayward at times,
yeah,
yes.
and Jofra Archer and Mark Wood are more consistent with their lines. So
Consistent in
if you
their
think
lines.
of it,
Absolutely. I mean, but it's a risk versus reward thing, and I think you have to factor in the risk that Semi has with the fact that he can be a little inconsistent with his lines, with the reward that his pace can really put a lot of the English batsmen also on a back foot and probably get a couple of wickets in need be. So I think India needs to think seriously about him. I think I would probably not mind playing a three pacer attack, and maybe drop one of the batsmen, maybe drop Iyer from the lineup. Have Sundar. I mean, be aggressive. Have Sundar back at seven, because here's the thing: a five bowler setup in T20 cricket never works. And
yeah,
today it was very much evident. The moment Chahal got hit, you had nowhere to hide him. Having a sixth bowling option always helps you cover up for that
but
one bowler who.
Abhinav, don't you think it's a bit harsh on Shreyas, to be honest? Shreyas did perform in the first game, and
He did.
the, the main
But
problem.
unfortunately, the fall guy has to be Shreyas right now. I think
Yeah.
because here's the thing. To quote Roman Nagel from Ocean's 13, is Shreyas Iyer is an analog player in a digital world.
Abhinav, let me put this straight to you. If you think of it, India have a tendency of having that kind of a collapse,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why they
Yes.
have the likes of Washington Sundar and Shardul Thakur in the team, because these guys
Yes.
can bat. And
Yes.
if you're telling me that we get in an additional bowler for a batsman, and again if that collapse happen, we're not even going to reach a 125 that we did in the first game, because the one you're just throwing out of the team is the Shreyas Iyer, who was the one who top
Exactly.
scored in that game. So
Exactly.
as you mentioned, it's a risk reward thing, and for what we have seen with Virat Kohli, that he isn't willing to do that kind of stuff, because if he would have been, Sundar would have been bowling in the power play. So I don't know what the problem here is with Virat right now, but let's see whoever he
I
gets in.
think, like Rahul rightly said, it's Kohli, the T20 captain, who really doesn't seem to have a very strategic brain. Unfortunately,
We,
let's
we
be
have
very honest
we
about it.
have a comment regarding this, and Shashank, welcome Shashank. Thank you for joining this live. And Shashank, I'll taking this comment from you. Sack VK as captain. Don't saying it only after today's game. Virat has proven many a time with his poor captaincy. Shashank. Again I'll say this. It's being a bit harsh on Virat Kohli, but there have been glimpses, where he has been inconsistent with his decisions. He didn't go for the obvious where he should have. Having those decisions of getting Sundar in the power play and having those Chehels in the middle overs, using Hardik Pandya at the right time so that he can get those cutters in with the older ball, so that slower ball works. So, maybe again, VK we know is a dynamic batsman or a captain to say the least. But yeah, there are a bit some questionable decisions which he has taken, but again it will be too harsh on Virat. And one thing that comes to my mind is, if not Virat, then who? The obvious answer is going to be Rohit Sharma, as people are going to tell me. But again, as Rahul said, RCB and India are a different setup. The same thing with MI and India as well. We know Rohit from the MI setup. He has those kind of bowlers in there, like the Trent Bolts, and the Rahul Chahars. यहाँ थोड़ा सा situation different है. I'm not saying कि Indian bowlers aren't good. Abhinav, yeah, please, you want to say something?
A contradiction there. Rohit, even when he's captain India, has actually looked very much in control with the bowling options he's had. I mean, it's not to say. I mean, because unfortunately the one thing that Kohli often has is probably he mistrusts a few bowlers. Some of the bowlers he has on the park with him on that given day. What I see with Rohit, he has he's more accommodative. He's ready to trust the board, whichever bowler he has, and he has a great a T20 game instinct as a captain. He knows, he just has that sort of a click. He has something that he knows instinctively. He's able to get the best out of bowlers of a bowling setup in a T20 lineup. He knows how to handle bowlers around. And his record as a T20 captain has also been very, very good. I mean, he's won the Nizahas Trophy as a T20 captain. Whenever he's led India in T20 internationals, he's looked very much in control. He knows what his plans are going to be like, and whichever bowler he has on the park. I mean, he won a Nidahas Trophy with the Jaidev Unadkat and all in his team. And Unadkat, great bowler again. I mean, but he's not exactly a T20 fit, but he managed to win a Nidahas Trophy.
Abhinav, just adding to it what you said. I do know that Rohit is a good captain, but if you think of it, in the upcoming 2 years we're going to have two World Cups, and Rohit has had those fitness issues with him, the back spasm and everything. And even if Rohit plays those two, I don't see Rohit. I hope he does. The kind of batsman he is. I want him to have a huge future and be there for the Indian team till the time he can be. But I think BCCI somewhere have that idea that if they give the captaincy to Rohit, even the T21, and post that, when he goes out of the team, who's going to take up the mantle? Because again, Virat Kohli, the kind of fit person he is, he'll still be in the team. So if you strip the captaincy of Virat, give it to Rohit, And when Rohit goes out of the team, you again ask Virat to captain. Will Virat take it nicely? Rahul.
I think here's the thing. I think it's a
Abhinav,
controversial
just a
opinion.
moment. Abhinav, just let Rahul complete and then I'll complete.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Like, like when we think about sacking Kohli as captain, it's just like who's going to sack him? Like like
Exactly.
I never entertain these questions because like who's going to sack him? And he's not done anything majorly wrong to get sacked. Okay, maybe if India mess up the upcoming World Cup and his decisions lead to that, then yeah, the case for changing captains would
Absolutely.
be greater. But as of now, like the last T20 World Cup was 2016, and we didn't lose the semi-final because of him. And yeah, same note, 2019 World Cup semi-final, it is a batting collapse. So he's not done anything wrong. Yeah, his captaincy is T20 captaincy is not the greatest, but I still think and the other issue, like you said, like I think Shashank says he'll play more freely, but I feel like for captaincy to change, Virat has to step down himself. He has to feel that okay, I'm not contributing as captain, but
Exactly.
that's not happening, and captaincy seems to motivate him. I don't know if he'll perform as well if
Exactly. He takes immense pride in being the captain of the country in all three formats, and that's what motivates him. So Abhinav, you were trying to say something. You please.
Yeah, so I actually agree with Rahul. I mean, there's nobody who's going to be able to sack Kohli because I think Kohli is too big a personality that he'll get sacked. Two, I think controversial opinion, but Kohli's ego will not let him get play under a different captain. Three, technically speaking, I mean, for all his follies as a T20 captain, I don't think his record as a T20 captain has actually been relatively decent. So I think it'll be a little too hard to sack him. But yes, I mean, if India do not go on to have a good T20 World Cup in the next couple of years, and somewhere his captaincy is a bit of an issue there, that his calls are getting scrutinized and leading to defeats and all. Then I think it'll become a bit of a question mark then. I mean, but right now I think it'll be a bit too hard to think of Kohli. I mean, for all our fantastic talk that Kohli should be sacked as a captain, it's not going to happen. And I think we just have to give him a bit. I mean, we need to try and we need to hope that he gets a bit more of a T20 captaincy news under him. I mean, he can be a lot more decisive and in his captaincy calls in this format and back the people and just approach a T20 game as a captain as a T20 game should be approached, not look at it as an extension of the one-day setup.
So it's a controversial topic, to be honest. Every time you'll talk about it, controversy is going to stir up. And there's this comment by Rishikesh saying, Rutik bhai, Kohli ko hatao. I won't ask the same question to Rutik. I'll come with a different question. But yeah, again, if you think of it, there's a comment by Udit saying, someone bring back Irfan Pathan. Udit, Irfan is someone who lacks pace right now. And we need someone who has that kind of pace. To batting. I think Hardik Pandya does a brilliant job. A bit out of form. Shashank again mentions the same poor captaincy today, to be honest. VK should have batted at 3. Ishan plays at 4 for MI. And Rishikesh with the comment, Kohli, Lampard, no tactics, just vibes. Both are legends, to be honest. We shouldn't be blaming Kohli and Lampard for the things that have happened, but never mind. Look, you shouldn't compare a captain to a coach, to be honest. Kuch bhi bolo, I don't like VK likes his captain either in IPL nor in international white ball. Oh, Shashank, you seem to have an agenda against VK, to be honest.
And he seems to have something really frustrating, something deep down frustrating about it.
Udit, we have more RCB bowlers in the squad than MI. Udit, it's fine. If these guys are performing on the stage, then it shouldn't be a problem. And India plays different team in different format. Other teams that do the same upon different captains. Now again, that's upon BCCI. We are no one here to discuss that because again, as Rahul rightfully mentioned, if the captaincy changes, it's Kohli who steps down. No one's going to, ask him to quit or anything. So if you think of it, yeah. But before the final comments, Rutik, I would like to talk about the England batting. Roy again did what Roy did. Apart from that, post that David Malan, okay, he was outfoxed by Sundar, but Jos Buttler. Jos Buttler is the real deal, and he's the best we have seen from England in a long time, apart from the usual suspect Owen Morgan. So, do you think India will have to think out of the box to get Buttler out in the next two games? Otherwise, India is not going to win those games if Buttler plays with the same vigor. So, what do you think on that, Rutik?
Personally, I'm an MI fan, and every time I watch Butler do all these things against India or even against Mumbai Indians, the first thought is regret. That आकाश ने 2018 के ऑक्शन में क्यों नहीं उस पे bid किया? And that is where it starts for me. So watching Butler is just, he should open his own academy of putting pressure on the bowler before bowler puts pressure on you. Because every time a good bowler like Chahal, who can actually get him out, comes on, he steps out and hits him out for a six. He has a very nice counter-attacking strategy, and most of the time he goes well with it.
Unlike other England players, he has that ability to play the spin well. So
Yes.
I think that really aids. But
A lot has to do his. I think a lot has to do with the fact that his hands are very very quick. He moves the bat in. He
MSDS.
moves his. Huh?
MSDS to say.
Yes.
Mahendra Singh Dhoni has to
MSDS
say.
in his the peak MSD, Butler's hands move very quickly, and his feet are also very. His feet are also very. He's very decisive in his footwork. I mean, that's why guys like him and even Sam Billings are so vital for England in the limited over setup, because they really know. They really know how to play spin very very well, because Billings also very has that same sort of a game, is very decisive against spin. Butler, I mean, Universe Joss finally showed up today. And
Let's hope that he doesn't. Let's hope that he doesn't in the
Exactly.
next two games.
Hopefully,
as Indian team fans. But for the cricketing fraternity, it was great to see Jos Buttler play that freely, because that's what we love. Players doing what they do best. But allegiance rehti hai obviously, but obviously we're Indian fans. But yeah, cricket fans to say the least, and obviously we love the way Buttler played. And I think we summed up everything from today's game. And before I take the final comments from you three, I'll take just the final comments from the people who have commented here. Shashank says Australia, Payne, Finch, England, Root, Morgan, India, Virat Kohli. It's up to BCCI again. So I think we've had commented enough. Udit, we'll give the captaincy to Iyer Ridley. Udit, if you think of it, Iyer की place अभी उतनी settled नहीं है, टीम में जैसी बात हो रही है, तो I don't think कि captaincy उनको सीधे दी जाएगी. उन्होंने दिल्ली के लिए अच्छा किया है कैप्टन, बट we still don't know. शशांक says BCCI will ask him to कि चुपचाप step down कर दो, नहीं तो बेइज्जती करके sack करना. I don't think BCCI is going to do that.
No.
Virat Kohli is bigger than. I mean, he's the superstar.
Yes, exactly. So
Virat Kohli is essentially BCCI right now.
And even logically also, if you want to remove Virat Kohli, it's just 5 months to the next T20 World Cup. So you can't remove a captain of 4 years, 5 months before the World Cup.
Exactly, and it might just backfire like Afghanistan's captaincy change of Asghar Afghan with Gulbadin Naib.
So you can't take that. Gulbadin Naib was that kind of player, the gully cricket player ki batting bhi meri, bowling bhi meri, used to bowl first, used to bat first. That was a bit.
So I think you can't make that call. I think it'll be too harsh sacking Kohli. I mean, I like Rohit, the white ball captain, a lot more than Virat. But I think, look, I mean, it's too near a T20 World Cup. You have to keep it with Virat.
Shashank, the comment here says 2016 World Cup in India, and India played horribly bad under VK.
It's that was MSG as captain. MSG was T20 was the captain at that time. So factually, he's a little off the mark.
And if you think of it, it's not just the captain who's going to play for the team. It's the team as a whole. You just can't blame the captain.
The captain is as good as his team. It's as simple as that.
That's very well said here. And again, it's the captain can't just do all things. Everyone can't be Gulbadin Naib, to say the least. So if you think of it, Shashank, I'm 100% sure VK won't lead India in both T20 World Cup. See, let's just take the first one right now, and let's hope for the second one to be a good one. Let's hope we win the first one, and then we'll see what to do with the second one. And Shashank, you said, by the way, in the other live, that Sports Zone live, I predicted Jos 100 today, India loses and Sky gets dropped. Good predictions there, Shashank, but I hope the VK prediction doesn't come true. I would like to see VK.
Very
And
pessimistic.
and just taking the final comments from you three here, Rahul. The question here is, do you think India will change something in the next game? And the question is same for the three. I'll start with you, Rahul.
I think they will make changes. I don't know. Maybe Kohli wants to rest himself and give Suryakumar a chance. I feel Suryakumar will get. Surely he will get another game. It seems too harsh to drop him after a game which he didn't bat. So I think they may rotate. This series is about experimentation. So I'm not really fussed about the results. If we lose while chasing, then I'll be concerned. But losing batting first, you're not surprised. I'm not really. It would be nice to see us win batting first, but the trend is that chasing teams win. So I don't think we should draw too much from.
It somewhat depends on the pitch as well. But yeah, rightly said, it will be nice to see them win batting first. Rutik, what's your thought on this? Do you think India will change the team, or they're going to go with the same team in the next game?
I can't see Virat Kohli going with the same team again. So I do think there will be a shuffle at the top of the order. I think Rahul might have to sit one out, but I also won't mind having to watch him again. But I do think that it's time for it's long overdue for Surya to bat for India now.
Hopefully, we get to see Surya and Abhinav coming to you with the same question.
Look, Virat never goes in with the same 11 in two successive games. He has been known for chopping, changing, even when India wins. So it is inevitable that he will not make a change for the fourth game day after. There's definitely going to be a change. I think Surya, will definitely be getting a game. Rahul, as much as I love Rahul and I want to see that 2018 KL Rahul come back into his zone, unfortunately, I think he's probably would be the unfortunate casualty. It's also sad that if on the part of the team management, that if they were not going to keep play Rahul for the test in any other 4 tests, they should have let him off to play the Vijay Hazare Trophy, get some white ball games under his belt.
Both Asmat and Vijay Hazare Trophy, yeah. But
they should not. I think he would have been too late for Smack, but he definitely would have been able to play some of the Vijay Hazare Trophy games. They should have let him go, get some white ball games under his belt, because what's really showing is that he's lacking a lot of practice with the white ball, because the last time he played was, I think, early December in Australia. After that third T20, he did not play any game. So I think that is showing very heavily, and unfortunately, I think they'll have to drop him for the fourth game.
But Abhinav, 3 matches is a long time. 3 matches is a long time. The first match, it was like, okay, he looked a bit rusty. But then 2 more games and not performing. I think Rahul might get the chop.
I think Rahul could be getting the chop. Surya definitely will come back in. I think I foresee them maybe trying Rahul Chahar. I probably think they might give Rahul Chahar a bit of a go against England, try and put them in the fear of a bit of the unknown, because a lot of the England batsmen have not faced him. Maybe with the exception of Buttler, Roy, and Buttler, and maybe a couple of guys who've played in the IPL like Morgan and all. They've not really faced Rahul Chahar, a lot of Rahul Chahar, and so a bit of the mystery of the unknown about Rahul Chahar may be there. I think they might look at Navdeep Saini. I think what Kohli might just think is that England is rattling us with pace. We need to rattle England back with pace, and so I think Navdeep Saini might just get a look in.
Just my few comments on the team for the next game. I think Deepak Chahar should come in for Shardul Thakur, because we saw. Pardon, please.
I get your point about Deepak Chahar, but here's the thing: Chahar and Bhuvi are a little too
I
similar.
know, I know they're similar, but the difference is,
Shardul makes the difference is that he actually, he offers India this is something that none of the other pacers in the side actually do. The bowling those hard length deliveries in the middle of the pitch that really do
Abhinav,
not.
I'll tell you something. Abhinav, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you the difference. If Deepak Chahar comes in, he opens the bowling attack for India because we know Bhuvneshwar is versatile. Bhuvneshwar can do what Shardul did. So if it comes to Deepak Chahar getting into the team, and you know the difference between Deepak Chahar and Shardul Thakur. Deepak Chahar can swing the ball more freely than Shardul can. And today itself, it was pretty evident that England were facing a lot of trouble against the odd swinging ball, and especially when it was coming in. So if you think of it, Deepak Chahar generally takes it out away, but he can always outfox the batsman with the kind of variations he has. So let's see whoever gets the nod. And I'll just take the few comments and I'll just close the live because we have been on for 50 minutes and it's a lot of time. Udit says Bhuvi not looking sharp. I think Bhuvi has done better from the first game, so I think it's a bit harsh on Bhuvi to say that. RCB had 20-25 best. I think. Shashank, let's not get into RCB. RCB, it's again, as I mentioned, is a different
It's a
topic
different
altogether.
format. It's a different format.
Bring back Dinesh Bhai Karthik. Udit, I am a big fan of KKR, and for people who know me, they do know I love Dinesh Karthik. But then again, he lost his place in the side when we lost that semi-final. So
He's
It's basically the selectors using numbers in one format to select people for a different format. Karthik lost his place in the T20 team for his non-performance in ODI, which really does not make sense.
but if you lack that kind of confidence on the biggest stage of them all, there's this sort of inbuilt trust that even what did Shikhar Dhawan do wrong? If you're playing KL Rahul for those one duck, Shikhar Dhawan again, should get a
I think
chance.
here's the thing, Karthik, because he did not play. He played only the previous game in that World Cup. He played that game against Sri Lanka, which was the game before the semi-final. Did not get a chance to bat there. Suddenly, he is asked to go up at number 4 to bat in a World Cup semi-final.
But if you
That's
think of it, Abhi, you just made the point that Rahul hasn't played for a long time, and then he comes to play in and he plays in a certain manner, and we still trust in Rahul, right? But again, the thing is, if you're taken for a World Cup, there are some expectations from you. You've been a senior player, you've played in those conditions. If I remember 2007, DK and Wasim Jafar used to open in those conditions,
yes.
and DK was brilliant. So if you think of it, I think it's way past his time to be in the Indian team, and there are young prospects. And Rahul wants to say something, and I'll just let Rahul.
no. So Karthik he's doing punditry for the England Sky Sports.
Sky Sports.
I was thinking, it's quite sad that maybe he could be in the mix for the Indian team, and instead he's doing commentary. And they actually asked him, "Do you think you'll be in the squad?" And then he gave a very diplomatic answer. I think 10 to 12 spots are sealed already, but we'll see after IPL. IPL always changes things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'll just take the final comments, and I think I should bring it to a close because, again, it's all Shashank in the comments. If it be DK, Dickok, I think he's naming the RCB players who didn't perform well for RCB. And Mandeep Singh, yeah, again, these are a lot of names. Shashank, I won't be taking all those names because we all know how it fares for RCB. Sani and Tevati and for Yuzi and Ishan. Let's see.
Ishan is too harsh. It's too harsh on Ishan to drop him.
Tewatia has failed his fitness test.
No, he's there. He's there with the team, and I think
only Varun Chakravarti isn't there. If I'm not
wrong. Because we did see. I think the Rajasthan Royals today put up a picture of Tewatia bowling in the Indian nets today. So I think I think he's probably passed his fitness tests.
Maybe.
Because otherwise, had he not passed it, he wouldn't have been asked to report to Ahmedabad. He would have been told to sit at NCA Bangalore only.
As on the screen, that Shashank's playing 11 for the game. Rohit, Rahul, VK, Shreyas, Pant, Hardik, Tewatia, Shardul, Saini, Bhuvi, Sundar. We'll have to wait and see in the next game who they take in England. Definitely, and think obviously they battered us. Yeah, I like Kishan and Sky, but no space यार जबरदस्ती fit करोगे तो सबको अपना position में compromise करना पड़ेगा. Yeah, and the next comment is the segment where we can end the live. To be honest, Udit here says play Dhaval Kulkarni. It's a big ask, Udit. I don't think that's going to happen.
Comment of the live stream.
But Shashank with a good comment here. If Nattu is fit, get in for Thakur also. we have no news on Natarajan yet, and I don't know if he'll be playing for the whole series because there was a
He's
speculation.
not in Ahmedabad. He's still. I think he's still recovering at Bangalore. I think that's
Yeah,
what
so I
I've
don't
heard.
think he'll travel and straight away play. So I think that is the
Because
end of the
there's
T20
also
series for Natarajan.
I think because there's also the quarantine regulations, and also I don't think Nattu will be able to play the series. I think he's struggling with some I think back injuries or something. So I think it looks very unlikely that he'll be in.
But I think we've summed up what happened today and what we expect in the next game from the Indian team. As Shashank
Yes.
says, "Chalo bye." Even I would like to stop with this today. We've been on for 55 minutes and we've talked beautifully about the game where England battered the Indian team, but all we can hope is that India play well in the next game. So thank you to Rahul, Rotik, and Abhinav for joining me here for the first ever live session on the MTAG YouTube channel. And thank you everyone who joined in, who commented. And we'll hope that you join in again and again. We'll be bringing these lives in again and again. We'll try to get in Rahul, Rotik, Abhinav, and many more people in the lives. Getting all those opinions in there, having fun, having those chit chats. Because India is a country where there are a lot of opinions, especially about the beautiful game cricket. So I think before I go, I would like to just have a cheap plugin about our YouTube channel. A lot of videos on there. Just go in, subscribe, watch, press the bell icon so you get the notification about the live as well. Check our Instagram as well, check our Facebook as well. We go lives on Instagram, we do lives. Now we'll be doing lives on YouTube as well. So again, thank you for joining and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.